Welcome to the Hot Planet Repair Team meeting for July 14th, 2022. Alan is going to start us off.
Well, hi, everybody. Today I wanted to go through our doctrines and practices and lead into our primary mission goals. The Hot Planet Repair Team, as you guys know, is a 501c3 charitable company. We have two things we're focused on: better life and untrashing the planet. Those pretty much cover a whole big area, and these are the first principle ecosystems I'm going to go over. Those ecosystems that I think we can all identify with are air, land, and water. Humans have pretty much trashed all three of those pretty well, actually. We haven't quite destroyed them yet, but we're well on our way. Inside of each of those, you have air, land, and water. You also have the life and the untrashing. Life, as we know it, pretty much is plant, animal, or biolife. Untrashing comes in the form of solids, liquids, and gases. Those things happen on all three of the ecosystems. These are the things we're focused in. And this is starting to set the framework for the Connectory, the Playbooks, and for everything we're looking at doing. Where it gets really interesting is in these interface zones where there's impact transference. Someone yesterday, I think, told me we dump several billion tons of garbage on the land, but the oceans are actually the biggest landfill or water fill that we've got. There's more stuff dumped in the oceans and in water than there is in land. There's these really interesting interface zones we have to also identify and work with. We're also trashing space. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but we've got some satellites up there picking up trash out of the space. The last 200 years, we've been trashing air, trashing land, trashing water. And now for the next 20 years, we really have to focus on untrashing air, untrashing the land, untrashing the water. We've got to reverse these cycles that we've been going through. So what are we doing? The Connectory. It's a global portal cataloging and cross-referencing all people, places, and things associated with planet repair. This starts to align everyone's interests, partners, and capital. It also starts referencing playbooks and who's involved with playbooks. Playbooks are basically the roadmaps or the directions or the instructions on how to succeed. Our job is to make sure that those playbooks work for everybody. The playbooks are here to help record and standardize activities. It provides standardized due diligence, capitalization, and offtake planning type situations. These are really critical for us to introduce banking and capital and all the money into planet repair. It's super critical that the capital infrastructure is included in what we're doing. It's all driven by money. You can't do very, very little without money. These playbooks then start actually referencing back into the Connectory and people that are involved with playbooks, and it starts organizing things. Again, we talked about the leagues before, but the leagues are measured and scored activities. There's competition. It feeds the due diligence systems, analytics, and monetization structures. Our job as a Hot Planet Repair Team is to organize a whole bunch of global planet repair leagues. They're going to take all kinds of forms: tree planting, carbon capture, water remediation, all kinds of different things, energy, everything. Again, modeled after major sports leagues that are a nonprofit branding and leading organization with for-profit teams, most likely. It has to do with organizing the capital that can get put into it. The current legacy or incumbent industries that are out there, they figured this out 100 years ago on how to build the machine that gets fed correctly. We have to do that now for planet repair. And then there's finally the Proving Center. Probably on the next meeting, we will start going into this Proving Center. I'm working on an additional presentation that will go through what we're building at the Proving Center at a very high level beyond what we've written into our grants. The Proving Center is really there to gain the trust, to demonstrate and prove these new methods out. And it's the start of the funding funnel and franchise support. And I use the term franchise loosely. I look at all the teams and people out there involved with HPRT as franchise members, and we're here to support them. What's it really look like? A big picture: the tool set. The Connectory is people, places, and things. The playbooks are the subject matter expertise. The leagues are the measured and scored performance. And the Proving Center is where we remove all the questions. So what's in it for everybody? You get to know what's going on and who's doing it. You get standardized methods, you get scoring rules, accountability, and real stats. We end up not making mistakes and reducing risk by having no unproven plans or technologies. Does that mean we're not going to do unproven plans and technologies? No, that's what the Proving Center is all about. But it's there to prove things out and to make sure that they're accounted for and not isolated. The main reason for being a nonprofit is complete transparency. This allows us to bring all this data and information forward. We have a small team working on the Connectory right now. I believe that will start putting out some actual portal software products in the next 60 days or so. And then the Playbooks will follow shortly right after. And then I expect this order to sort of happen. That's what I wanted to show everybody today. Any questions?
Wonderful. I love it.
Very well delivered. Thank you, Alan.
John, this is part of what we're doing for the presentation for the corporate stuff also. There'll be a separate section for the corporate involvement area also. Okay, that's all I had for that today.
Thank you.
That was awesome, Alan. Thank you very much. I want to get into how we can initially collaborate as this is all coming together. I've been successful in getting a lot of maybe some notoriety, maybe some support through my individual efforts for Planet Repair. And everybody here has their own Planet Repair connections and support and influence around the world. I think that what we're trying to do right now, at least through the Telegram feed, is that we can create a much more effective engagement across the Hot Planet Repair team feed. And that's going to take some training for everybody. People that want to post educational articles, that's great. And we have a world news feed for the articles. People can go in there and track news. But I also think that there's a better way for us to collaborate and support each other's message. Some people call it a pod, but I think that it's also just a collaborative support across the team here. If you're going to post something on the HPRT thread, craft a social media message supporting HPRT along with the link or the message or whoever you want to support. Then everybody that is reading that feed can go in, support that in social media, post, write a comment, tag the person that wrote the article or tag somebody you think that would be interested in that. So what happens is that the algorithms that run these social media platforms start identifying engagement. And that engagement starts becoming more and more viral the more we engage and communicate. What's going to happen over time, and this is going to take some training across everybody's efforts and typical process, is that when we post something that's a crafted message of support for Planet Repair, for HPRT, and also for some message that is happening that you think needs to get out there. What we can do as a team is support each other and support those messages and get those out. What that's going to do is going to bring people that feel like isolated islands, and we all become the bridge to help them get the word out. It's going to bring further engagement for them to want to come to us, to want to be involved, to want to become members and craft their messages and support their messages. As that happens, we have the playbooks and the Connectory and all of those things that start coming in over time. Then all of a sudden, it really pulls people in, and then we can all be better supportive of each other for our individual messages, passions for Planet Repair. It's going to be much more accretive for everybody. For the people that have articles that they want to share that are just straight articles, we have an HPRT World News feed that people can subscribe to and get all the news and information that they feel that could be valuable to them there. But I think the HPRT general thread that we have in Telegram will be much more valuable for everybody if it's a crafted message for us to all support. I just wanted to get that out, and we'll start training that through the messaging and everything on HPRT. That's going to drive more engagement, and it's going to drive more collaboration across all the members that might get overwhelmed right now through article posts.
Tyler, do we have anybody that's moderating all this stuff?
Yeah, I can help on the moderation side on the HPRT thread for supporting the pod and getting that engagement going and kind of help train people for operating and posting through there and get some protocols kind of established. Jake has helped with some notes from our previous call that he can share as well.
I'm thinking that Tyler and I should sit down and make some short videos for people to understand how do you go about doing this in an easy way to make onboarding an easy process, especially as we have a lot that we're trying to get done with HPRT and we need to make these processes efficient. We will work in the coming weeks to make this as clear as possible. How do you get engaged with influencing for Planet Repair, helping share each other's messages? But we're going to try, like Tyler said, change how people use the Telegram forum for now. Everyone understand that this is an essential part of what we're doing as a global and local community, that we're trying to work as a team to help each other out in our own pathways for Planet Repair. Whether that's building up our own network on LinkedIn, building up awareness about the Planet Repair solutions that we're all involved with, whether it's actually planting trees or the blended finance work you're getting involved in, or marketing or developing your community. We all each need to build our own. Unfortunately, we have to kind of each build up our own individual or organizational brand. Who are we? What do we do in relation to Planet Repair? How does that work across the bigger picture of Hot Planet Repair teamwork? One of the things I'm trying to say here to you all is that there's something in this for you. You get value out of helping support other posts, sharing your posts on LinkedIn and tagging Hot Planet Repair Team, listing yourself as a Hot Planet Repair Team member, putting your post in Telegram so we can like and comment it. And it creates this cycle where it builds awareness for all of Planet Repair, Hot Planet Repair Team, our messaging too. Make sure that you're saying things like hashtag we care to repair, our motto. This will build up momentum and routine as a community that can help us with things like peer-to-peer fundraising, interesting campaigns and announcements that we have going on, such as what's related to Planet Repair Team is Carbatura came out with a press release today. That's an example where that information should be relayed to others. So as we get in routine ways to do this as individuals, we'll build up a capacity as a community, and that framework can be reused across various of our different content, storytelling, marketing pushes and pulls.
Yeah, well said. And I think that there's also some great people. They've written books. They have influence. People do a post and they'll get like 3, 4, 5 likes and a couple hundred views. And this is not only for LinkedIn, but this is for Facebook and other social media platforms, whatever they're trying to build out their influence. With an effective collaboration of what we're talking about getting way more engagement through reactions and comments. So the views will go from, say, hundreds to thousands of views for everything that you post. And so I think that everyone is encouraged to have a message they want to share, craft a quality message and put it on there. And then we can really help support you and support the message and support HPRT at the same time. It's really going to be an incredible value. I've gone through this process before and I've seen the results. It's been fantastic. I've gone through it and it's very much worked for me, and I know it'll work for everybody. I think that everyone has their own angle for addressing climate change, whether it be a software, a book, or whatever it is. There's a lot for us to help spread that message. It'll be a much more valuable tool for everybody than just a newsfeed. It'll be a collaborative effort for us all to work together as a team.
Absolutely. I really like how what we're talking about is how, as a global community that's decentralized, we're trying to change one of the oldest, strongest structures within old school capitalism. And that is the attention economy of marketing. What we need to do is really redirect people's attention to the content, storytelling, and attention grabbing economic activities and educational forms that are more focused on Planet Repair, that are not sticking to those old school models where we're talking about what has this old investment firm been doing with their fossil fuels. No, we want to be changing people's mindsets on how do we think 10 years ahead of others, move in those directions together. That will be focusing on certain leading authors and influencers that we want to bring into our community at Hot Planet Repair Team. Because our loudspeaker is only as powerful as the people that we have, the attention that they can get, and the messaging they provide. Let's create the right circumstances in order to bring in these influencers, whether they're influencing for Planet Repair or not. If we can take some of those old school marketing TikTok influencer people that are talking about products which aren't really helping Planet Repair at all, and we get them to focus on the future, they will feel better about themselves. They will be better informed about which directions we need to go, and could potentially even grow their interest as an individual or an organization to move into the future and not be a zombie company of the past.
It's like selling indulgences from the Pope to these people in error. What I wanted to say, which is corollary to what you're saying, which we've touched on before, it's not what you don't do, it's what you do. The ESG model the socially responsible investing model up until maybe past 10 years has been what you don't do. We don't invest in bad things, define it across the ESG spectrum. It's about impact. It's actionist orientation, not activist, but actionist. We're not environmentalists, which is not such a good word because those are activists in a not such positive way, but we're actionists.
Yeah, we're not going to be blaming and shaming people. That hasn't really worked in traditional climate movements because people don't, from the big change makers, whether you're a policymaker, a big player in market, you're not going to really want to listen to the people that are known to blame and shame you. No, you instead want to be working with the people who really will sit down, listen to you, understand your problem, and then how to help nurture and move yourself to learn to go into the future intrinsically through developing the right relationship with those that will listen to you and work with you to help bring you towards the future.
On the Telegram thread right now, we've got 65 people through the online signups and the emails and everything, registration and members. There's hundreds, especially with social media, LinkedIn following. I think there's over like 550 some odd people that are following it. And that's going to grow, especially when we start doing these tags and doing this methodology that we're talking about here. It's going to take a little bit of training for everybody, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to be way more impactful, and it's going to create an environment of collaboration for some of the people that probably have come on board and kind of got overwhelmed with some of the news that might have come across. And there's no way for them to accelerate their message. With this, I know for a fact that we started with a small pod of just 10 or so people that just did it. And then all of a sudden, it just really blew up. By doing that, just even with a small group, even with the people that are on this call right now, it can really be a huge transition to everyone's business and whatever they're doing. With 65 people, then every single one of these posts have the ability to go viral, a message to go to the people that need to hear it. I think that that's just the beginning stages of our communications, and with all the things that we have going on and all of the Planet Repair stuff and all the connections that we've made, this can be an extremely powerful way for us to maximize the teamwork and everyone's experiences and everyone's network. I'm glad that we got this kind of framework established, and I've done it before, and Jake and I can help kind of train everybody to make the most of everyone's efforts here.
Absolutely. It's about teamwork, connectivity. That's why we're building things like the Connectory, which will naturally help do that. What we want to say is that we have a grander vision for where our community management needs to go. In 2023, we will be rolling that out more, providing the right digital infrastructure to make sure we can organize in the best ways. But for now, we're going to be using Telegram. We're going to be sticking to LinkedIn. We're going to be sticking to our YouTube channel and other social media outlets that we can use and ways that we can collaborate through Google. But thank you all for listening.
I just wanted to add, maybe this has been covered and maybe I missed it just because I co-process, same thing as multitasking. Podcasts, should we create like an Apple podcast, an Amazon podcast, whoever is the biggest, the best, most used?
Yeah, we've been planning on doing podcasts for some time now, but the can's been kicked down the road. We have some of the research already done on how we're going to do it. We just need to be ready to host the first podcast. So if you could poke us enough and we can plan the first one for August 1st.
I'm a good one for poking. I'm still waiting for materials. But in any case, when I listen to these repertoire, these practice sessions, I'm not sure what I should call them, these statesman-like discussions of who we are, what we're doing, that's material for a podcast. A podcast doesn't have to be long. It could be a 2.5-minute thing.
And luckily, that's why we're recording this and putting it on YouTube. So already building up the database.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Not to be redundant.
No, you're not at all. You're asking the right questions. I have to unfortunately get going, but Allison and Rich, do you have anything that you'd like to tell the team about the wonderful work that you've been helping us all out with?
Well, we've made a little bit of progress on planning, preparing to get that facility built down in Florida. We're trying to make that more structured so that we know where we're at. And also we've got a little bit of information for John and everybody else who's fundraising out there on a more structured presentation material. Hopefully that'll be done this week. We're working on a few diagrams that we'd like to include in that. Allison, anything to add?
Yeah, you basically covered it. We're going to put together a whole strategic plan and project plan so that we can launch the fundraising campaign. We're going to put a package together and provide that to people who want to help fundraise. The idea of the package is you can take what is appropriate for the individual that or corporation that you're going to, but it's a series of key messages that you can use. Yeah, I think next Monday we're hopefully the LinkedIn portion of the campaign settled so that we know exactly when that's going to launch. Yeah, so we're trying to get all our ducks in a row at this point to make sure that we're ready and that once it launches, we know exactly what needs to happen when. Yeah, and I mean, with regards to John's questions about podcasts and so on, we're always happy to do content. It's just finding the time to do it. So yeah, right now, Rich and I are just kind of focused on trying to get everything together for the fundraising campaign and making sure that we have materials for that, things like infographics. We hope to do a little video. We just have to figure out the easiest way for us to do that, given Rich and I are going to be the ones doing it. It's really just figuring out what we can do with the resources we have, making sure that we have everything ready and a plan on releasing it and timing and go from there.
Yeah, thank you both for that. That's awesome. I enjoyed our team call this morning. Go ahead, Steve.
Tyler, I appreciate that. If you and Jake are going to be putting together some sort of tutorial video to make communication more viral on steroids, whatever it is, I'd really like to see that, because liking and sharing things and maybe reposting, that's all well and good. But if there's a better strategy and tactics to doing that, I'm all ears and I'd like to hear about that. I haven't heard Facebook much. Obviously, there's a Facebook page and I don't know where that fits into the whole scheme.
It can work in any kind of social media. The same algorithm of engagement that promotes the viralness is the same across all the social media platforms. We can support whatever platform that whoever crafts. LinkedIn is probably the most engaging. There's also TikTok and there's all kinds of platforms. It just depends on the person. I know some people that are developing and building TikTok campaigns for different tree planting initiatives. So we can help in that regard as well as they come on board and they craft a post and they can tag HPRT. And then we start building our own social media followers within the different platforms as well. So yeah, we'll go over that and you'll find it extremely beneficial for what you do, Steve, in your consulting. And I think it'll be very valuable for you and your business and people that you're working with as well.
I appreciate that.
I think that's it for now, but this is recorded so we can get this posted on the thread and get that shared out with everybody and the latest and greatest. And we'll share some of the basics on an effective pod per se and get the word out going forward.
Well, thank you, Tyler. See you, everybody.
See you.
Very
everybody.
exciting.
We
Bye,
care to
guys.
repair.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye now.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.